Welcome to Akhand Vidyashram, the first institute of impeccable wisdom. Let's discuss about SHIV Ling, and I call that a first divine design of nature, much before Devyang. Let me share one intuitive childhood question I had. The elder sister of my mother is a sannyasi child who's very particular about spirituality. She is literally my guru to technically speaking from family point of view. My mother used to offer water on the shivling every day in the temple very close to my house, and I used to join her for the same temple prayer. Somehow my aunt, the sannyasi Muktanand, always stopped her from doing it and asked her to explain her reason for stopping it. She said that a married woman does not offer water, rather menstruating women should not do it. Shivling is a symbol of Shiva's reproduction, etc. And the information given to me at that given when I was very small child, I did not understand it. But later I did find many people saying this particular Shivling is a reflection of sexuality and it should be taken that, which I do not agree with. Now I would love to answer this question myself. What do I think of Shivling? Offering of water to Shivling is very common in Hinduism by and large. And the realization of universal truth lies in Shivling itself is something which I am convinced about. What could be the divine design of question which is coming to my mind and my spiritual experiences and conviction, I am going to say this particular shape you have seen in the picture, which is 22 by 7, which is resembles pi, is the structure of Shivling as such. And this also goes to story which is there in Lingam Puran, when Brahma and Vishnu want to know what this light is this. And when that light is considered to be with Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva is supposed to be the god of dissolution and regeneration. World ends with Shiva and starts with Shiva, or starts with Shiva, ends with Shiva is something is the greatest statement in Sanatana Dharma. Whereas Vishnu is the person who sustains it and Brahma is the one who creates it. But Shiva has both the things, and this one statement I realized Brahma is the Lord of creation, Vishnu has 10 stages of development, but when it comes to Shiva is not only maturation but also thereafter. So that means whole Srishti starts with Shiva and ends with Shiva, and Brahma and Vishnu play intermediate roles of creation and sustenance, but not of the creation as such. But does that mean something more than just the particular concept of creation? Let's see. Now, as I have told you, all what I have shared in my books, my PhD work, medical profession, and also in Quora answer as well as YouTube videos are based on my personal experiences only. Nothing is a copy of something which is written by somebody else before me. Unless until I am convinced about that, I don't repeat it. And I still remember a couple of years back, I was prompted to go do and circle around myself in a space of 2 by 2 feet, stand erect, and with the hands parallel to the ground, go around, and I was told to do it 252 times. And slowly and steadily I did it, but I went on to do up to 268. Then I felt there is no need to do it. And I think with that I had the experience of Shivling as such within me. I realized there is something unique, and I'm going to share that experience in this particular video, what it made me be a part of the universal consciousness and how I have given Devyang for the first time in 2015 and also produce 8 Hz alpha frequency through the brain with eyes open anywhere and everywhere as a part of my PhD work and thereafter. These are both are unique, and I also say the mathematics used by nature, by the people by and large, is very different from divine nature. Man-made concepts of what world is teaching is defective. So is the physics, so is the chemistry, so is the medical sciences. And these particular experiences of Akhand Yoga have made me realize there is much more to the universal truths than all our books talk about it. Now comes the question, is this particular symbol an Atma, the soul? Yes. And divine soul, according to Sanatana, cannot be cut, burned, dissolved. It is eternal, it will always remain. And I have connected that with the inert matter, noble gases like helium, neon, argon, krypton, and xenon and xenon. So I am very clear this thing. But then question comes up to in my mind, and of course to share with you, when the soul as such is in a stagnant position, it is a circular thing where everything light inside. But when it enlightens, number of atoms, elements increase, and the shape it takes for evolution is definitely like Shivling only. And this description has been given in Satchakra Nirupana, where Kundalini is around the Shivling encircled in 3 and plus things, and also associated with thumb in Upanishads about Atma. But these two structures have made me realize in involution it is like a dot inside as a dark matter. But when it's educated or evolved, when it starts ascending, whether it's Atma, Kundalini, Chakras, Aditi, whatever it is, the form becomes like a thumb or in Shivling as such. This is something very clear in my mind, and I've experienced that within my body itself. Now comes the question of description of the divine souls, which is 7 things I'm talking about in the last series itself. First, Nirankar Nirgun Brahman is the ultimate formless, omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent, universal consciousness. I connected with aesthetic and also connected the 108. And this is formless, and this is one beginning from inside, and this particular say is just like a dot. When come to the second thing, which is appreciated as Sakar Sargun Brahman, which is manifested omri, that's the time when this particular dot starts becoming ovular to start with. It takes the shape of 21 into 22. As such, I connected with xenon as such. And here you have the protons 54, electrons 54, and neutrons 54. This is also got a power of 108. And this is where I connected with the light as such with Dhruv, the core manifested universe or polar star. You can see the picture, formless to the form, and that upper form is pole star or Dhruva. Then third comes my experience, which I have shown you with the going around. I found that I can experience that within my body, as if I am connected in the link between sun and Dhruv as such. In that particular script, which I can associate with gravity and me being together in one line, I think I have experienced the beauty of universal consciousness within me, which resembles Shivling itself. Here that is where I have experienced all the three. The darkness is the starting of Atma, then soul is the first stage of 22 by 21, then you have 7 stages thereafter. I think now the mathematics is appearing. Formless, 0, Dhruv, 22 by 21, and then 7 within that is leading towards something very interesting in divine design itself. And I am talking about astronomy, astrology, and my experiences. Then fourth comes to stage of experiencing on the universal consciousness as such. This is where Adi Prashakti comes to play a role. 3 are only Brahmans. This is fourth. And I connected with Argan 40. And this is also, I talk about the descent of Adi Prashakti has come from universal consciousness, from formless to Dhruv to 7-star to down, is something which is manifested one by one at the 4th level. And I connected in this particular thing as a power of 18. In this particular Adi Shakti, Prashakti has 18 arms. And she is the mother of Dattatreya, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, and you can call it also of Saraswati, Mahalakshmi, all the gods and goddesses put together. I think this is where. And now the same thing is seen in periodic table. You have 18 groups which specific. As in the earlier I said 72, 54, 36, now to 18 is the same divine mathematics. And you can also see 7 periods. And I associate with 7 divine souls as such. This is the 4th one which I am talking about. Now comes the 5th, is the goddess Gayatri, which I said is the divine mother of spiral galaxy as well as solar system. And I connected with inert matter neon 21. That was organ 40 leading to neon 21 is the next stage. And this particular picture you can see spiral galaxy has got 10 suns as such, and there are spirals of 10.344, not 11. But of course there is potential 11. And same thing even science has spoken about. But the picture, look at the picture in the middle. You have lotus untorn, which I connected with 43, which has got 22 and 21 is the stage of Lord Brahma itself. Then 10 arms of goddess Gayatri represent 10 stages of development, which is in Devyank. And 5 heads represent Panchbhutas of Lord Shiva, and that is 0.34419, which also add up to 21. This is something which I am going to show in one by one. And let's understand concept in the shorter videos, much more specific, that's smaller ones. And during the creation, the Big Bang theory you call it, or whatever the confusion is, isomers of neon 21 collided together to form neon 22 isomers, and with that came the light, and with that came the energy, and from there everything in the universe is developed thereafter only. This is the first divine mother as such of what we have right up to hydrogen as such in the atom elements, molecules or compounds, or you even have some molecular structure which modern science has also become aware of it. This is the first stage of creation. Now comes the 6th divine mother, Aditi, and inert matter is helium-4, and helium-4 is formed in the sun. And this is where the Vedas say the mother and daughter of Daksha is Aditi. Upanishad, mother and daughter of Aditya is Aditi. It has got 2 protons, 2 neutrons, 2 electrons. This is very different from hydrogen. Hydrogen has 1 atom, has got 1 electron, 1 proton only. There is no neutron in hydrogen, is very unique. But human soul, Antaratma, Kundalini, Aditi is helium-4 only. Now comes to 7th divine soul, Aditya, the presiding deity of our solar system. When I think of this statement in Chandogya Upanishad makes it very clear, Aditya is the Sakar Brahman, and we should learn everything from Aditya itself. People who consider Surya as the guide, a teacher, they can do wonders just observing sun and sun's science itself completely. I have done that. I think my teacher is Surya as such on the external world, and internal world it is Aditi. Now comes to the question of 5th hydrogen. Hydrogen is Aditya, the sun. As you can see, it is the most abundant in the universe, and it has got 1 proton, electron, and all the chemicals can be beautifully made with this. You can see the picture very clearly. 1 proton, 1 electron as the picture on top. And is the most versatile thing which is formed from here is water, hydrogen and oxygen, and A to Z of chemistry I have learnt only from hydrogen, water and methane, etc., which we are going to talk about it as we move on. Now this is a reaction inside the core of the sun, where 4 atoms of hydrogen mix together to form Aditi, which is the daughter of Aditya. Now same Aditi becomes a mother and gets divided to produce son as Aditya. And that's a beautiful combination of modern science and ancient wisdom coming together to show the both are together as such. And now come to the applied spiritual science of these 7 stages, which I am going to talk about it as Shivling itself. Now I am showing the picture of Shivling. Now I have shown you the earlier picture, which is 22 by 7. Now you can see a upper part of Shivling, you can see very clearly on top of the ventral division. But there is a reflection of the underneath which people do not see. The division in which water is collected and put together is seen as something which I do not would like to repeat. But I do see 11 by 7 on top, 11 by 7 undertooth, put together is 22, and pi of 22 by 7 is the first divine design of nature which the production of universal consciousness and mathematics started. So that's why written first divine design is pi 22 by 7. And the divine design which I am talking about, Divyank, is the second one thereafter. Now we are going to see this likeness in Lord Brahma. Do you see 3 plus 1, 7 heads of things? You can see 3 sets of very clear, but fourth head is partially seen, and I call it as a 1/7 of this. Do these 4 heads represent 22 by 7 is the question which comes to my mind, which everybody would have a doubt, because I am surprised that, as a matter of fact, the people who do not believe in Sanatana Dharma criticize the idols and worships and pictures of Sanatana Dharma. They don't realize the greatest mathematics, greatest science is found in these pictures. I have learnt everything from God's pictures only. Sanatana Dharma has taught me divine mathematics for the first time in the history of mankind. Now in this picture you can see Lord Brahma, 3 heads and the 7. But these 7 sages are not what everybody talks about it as human beings. I call it each head has got 7 parts. That's the divine mathematics which is talked about. And I go by that. I will not got 7 rishis as such, including the one which I showed in the beginning. When I see the same thing, Om, Mandukya Upanishad has only 12 verses. But first verse says Akara A of Om represents 7 waking consciousness. Yukara represents 7 stages of dreaming nature. Third, Makara head is a 7 deep sleep. And this 21 part of the living consciousness, with the 22nd part represents the Turiya consciousness, the universal, which is stage of creation. And I think this is a picture which I have written, put down, is the one which I had made more than 50 years ago. And at that time I was not at all interested in spiritual science at all. I was a student, medical doctor and professional. 40 years, absolutely not into spirituality. But still made this picture which speaks volumes about Mandukya Upanishad. No one has given this description in any form of Om as such. You can see Ganesha, you can see God, you can see all the things which I think are the greatest spiritual science. Now 22 is rotation. Now I am bringing the science. Science has said very clearly, North Pole comes to the South Pole in 11 years and South Pole becomes the North Pole in 11 years. So this 11 plus 11 is very clear. So rotation is of 22. So 22 years is the concept which is divine design at every stage. And you can see 22 by 21 is very clear, and this 22 by 21 is spoken in many of the Upanishads. That solar system as such has got 21 steps which can be measured in 22. This is 3 into 7. To go beyond the solar system, you need to take 22 steps, which is very clear in Upanishad. I think this beauty of 22 is many of the Upanishads, directly and indirectly, and I am grateful to Upanishads to give me the kind of wisdom which started the journey of Shivling and Divyank thereafter. And remaining we will talk as we go on to the next stage. Now come to the Shivling is a particular thing which I keep. in the picture which I have shown in the beginning, on the left side and the right side, there are 11 spheres on each side. Both have 22 spheres. 21 spheres represents the involution and 22 of evolution is something which I am very clear. There is involution and evolution. As a result, the 21 represents coming in and 22 represent going out, and that is the design of universal consciousness as such, including solar system. Brahman as such has got, but from center of sun, Brahman to spiral galaxy to pole star, it is a linear thing which I see in evolution of Kundalini itself, or Atma, or universal consciousness. Now, anyway, this first stage of creation is 22 by 21, which originates from 22 by 21, 7. And 22 by 7 is the pi, which is 1/3 is 22 by 21. I know divine mathematics has to be understood by the people who can concentrate in the mind and see the sequence as such. No wonder when you look at IQ, IQ is done very people who are good in mathematics. And I remember one other person told me my IQ could be 700, when usually it's around 160 or something, and not many people. But I can understand it is not only mathematics, emotional, mental, spiritual, everything put together. Person who can take the universal, that person could have an IQ of IQ, because other factors also come to play a role. And I'm just trying to show that. Anyway, this is divine mathematics of Devi. Now I'm showing the picture again. Look at this picture. You can see the pole star on top. You can see sun down, and in between is what I'm talking about, the distance. From pole star to sun is a 22 units. And in the center you can see the division between upper and lower, which is equivalent to 7. And you can see 11 on either side, and 1 down, 1 up. So all this is there. It is. But if you see this particular picture in Akhand, where I have converted 24 thing, but here 22 plus 29 plus these two make it 24. This is again another divine mathematics which makes me clear when you are in universal consciousness, and what I have done in the picture of Akhand is phenomenal. Now I'm trying to share that step by step so that people understand. If you see in the left side, the second picture from down has got that 24 slash what Ashok Chakra, and also 48, and all the symbolic, and this is a very representative same picture inside. Now comes the modern science has gone very defective from divine mathematics, and I make it very clear. This is a picture of pi which mathematicians talk about it, and they give the number as it is given, and I say this is a defective thing. My divine design of nature, the perfect of 22 by 7 is 3.142857 only. And this is what nature, Aditi, taught me as such, which I am going to show you as I move on. I do not talk about something which I have not experienced within thing, with the dialogue with the universal consciousness, and particularly Aditi, the voice of silence within my body, which has come from Surya, knows the entire universe, and what I am going to show you hereafter. Now, there is a dialogue between me and voice of silence Aditi. Question was, make me do some picture which is totally inanimate, geometry and mathematics, and here I have slightly modified it. Science of occult 7 I want you to know is also the part of the same thing. The foundation occult 7 designing is I am going to share, which Aditi, the indwelling soul, taught me or made me do as such, and I'm going to share you as I have experienced, which has never been done by anybody till date. Now, before that I go, Sun and Surya has got 7 horses is something which is first thing which I learned. Second, this is a picture, as I told you, right on top you have Om. Then I have to see the picture which I mentioned. There is all the design of the entire universe, like the 11th chapter of Gita as a Virat Roop or Vishal Roop is much better in a totally semi-animate. It's not a human form, but it's a beautiful work which has started in 1995 and it continued till 2025. 30 years later, this picture is done by me, and I think I'll leave it at that. Now, in this particular picture, right on top, Akhand, this symbol was designed in 97, and this 7 were there in the picture from 97 itself. There's 7 lotus flowers. They show this is universal consciousness. Is this a mere coincidence, a divine design? I'll leave it to you. Now we are going to learn about making of a symbol represent and also learn about 7 in the process. First picture was there is a sun in the middle as 0, the dot from which everything has come. Let's put it that way. Then another circle which is a representation of dot to circle to sphere comes from there. Then circle is divided into 9 equal parts. This is what I was made to do. Then this represents the division of 1 by 7 is equal to 0.142857, and this is where I realized that Sat Chakra Nirupana talks of 6 chakras, not 7 chakras, and that is the reptilian brain, and this is associated with autonomic nervous system. I also realized that how beautiful are our scriptures, how much wisdom is there which we got to understand. And reptilian brain has to be of 6 parts, and in the process I think our chakras, petals, and of course Sanskrit, I understood much better from this particular picture. Now comes the question of 1 by 7 is equivalent to 0.142857. Now I have started connected part 1 with 4, 4 to 2, 2 to 8, 8 to 5, 5 to 7, 7 to 1. This is how I was made to do this particular exercise step by step. But in the process you can see a pentagon right bottom in which you can see the sun. It's very nice. These 6 numbers divided create a pentagon structure as such very clearly. I think this was an amazing picture for me to understand this is how divine mathematics actually starts working. And when I think of this particular 1 plus 6, I also remember 7 days: Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. As in all the things I have understood, we are going to talk about it. I have already spoken as we move on. Then 3, 6 and 9 are the 3 spots which were not covered. In that spot I was made to put a male triangle, a Shakta triangle connecting 3, 6 and 9. As a result, the picture which appeared resembles a Western Enneagram as such. But West thinks of only Shakta, male god, not female god. This is the picture they have gone up to. But right, you see in the middle, the pentagon has now taken 7 sides. That's very interesting mathematics again. How these pictures actually tell you nature design. Now I do know in India, Shakta is important, but much more important than Shakta is Shakti. I think in this particular picture, against 3, 6 and 9, I have put another triangle which is a downward involution and placed in such a way which created another 3 points. 10, 11 and 12 you can see very clearly. So now let it sit in the middle, you have sun, and you have now 12 zodiac signs as such. I think that is another interesting point. But what was 5 in pentagon, 7, now it has become 10 stage. This also gave me the idea that next is going to be 10 stages development thereafter. I think that was very clear because we are moving from Brahma to Vishnu's Dasavatar, which shows there are 10 stages of development, which I am going to show and bring the divine mathematics for the first time and show with examples how beautiful this particular design is. Now this particular picture which I have shown is come to this particular stage, and this also taught me, I call it Vigyan Chakra, which is 8th center, which also has a 52 petals as such. made me realize even Sanskrit has got only 52 petals, and we are going to see that part. Now you can see 11, 16 and 25 is a design. There are special consonants which are 11, then you have 16 vowels and 24 constant. This 11, 16, 25 is 52, but they say 11, 16 and 28 also follow Devyang sequence only. How beautiful the science is. Now how defined this science is. How we are clear from Shivling to Devyang and Devyang ratio sequence, which you are going to see thereafter, that everywhere is same, identical, there is no confusion whatsoever. Now there is impeccable wisdom is first divine design of nature is pi at 22 by second. This represents symbol of Lord Brahma itself. And of course, Shivling symbol also represented by 22 by 7 is the first divine design. The second divine design is 22 by 21, which is 1/3 of the first of 22/7, and this is first is a creation of Brahma, which we are going to talk about it as we move on. Now we are taking shape to reach the Devyang one by one, and this is the Devyang, the divine design of nature. 22 by 20 is Brahman, then is Vishnu's Dasartha, and 0.344 is Lord Shiva, and this is the connection of one into this is for Devyang. And the same thing is converted to symbolic representation down, which will show that divine mathematics can also be beautifully put into symbolic form, and that is symbol which we should use it so that we can translate one to other. Otherwise language translation is becoming very, very difficult. There is a lot of inaccuracy, inadequacy, ambiguity in languages, including everything, including Sanskrit. To completely eliminate the confusion, we need to have divine mathematics, and we need a symbol of that nature, and this is what I am talking about. Now come to the last. I think this is enough for the day. Thank you very much. And I think we are going to see divine mathematics symbols emerging together to bring uniformity in education throughout the world. I do know it's a difficult thing for a common man. It will go over their head. But I think I would rather concentrate on the highest and make people realize that slow and slow. If some of the intelligent people with great concentration, contemplation start learning, and then they will start teaching others, and that becomes the uniform syllabus of the world, I think the world will have a uniform education throughout the world, and that will bring work peace, and that is what Satyayuga was all about. I think that's enough for the day. Thank you very much.